Today, we are talking about paying the bills in faith. Because the truth is that we all have bills. We all have to pay for something. But if we can look at the way we pay bills and our finances, the way we look at money in a different way, in a new way, we can stop calling them bills, things that we begrudgingly have to pay once a month. I get so annoyed with my phone bill. My phone bill is due on the 18th, and by the 25th of the month before, they're telling me my bill is due on the 18th because everybody wants money, right? They're so scared of not having the money. But I do love being able to pay the bills that I have to pay because, and this is how I want you to look at it, they're no longer bills that you begrudgingly pay every month. They are investments, right? They are investments because we're investing in ourselves. We're investing in our lives. When we think about it, our basic need for shelter and food, we invest in our shelter by paying rent. We invest in our sustenance by buying food, whether you buy it in the supermarket or whether you buy it at your favorite restaurant. You are investing in yourself, and a bill comes due at some point, right? We invest in our heart health by loving, by being in relationships, right? We invest in communication by paying the phone bill. No matter how much they harass you, we all still want that communication. So there's so many things that we invest in or so many bills that come due, but we have to now look at our paying of our bills as a spiritual practice, much more than the physical practice that we become accustomed to in our world. Most of us look at money as a physical thing, but if we can look at the exchange of money, the exchange of paying bills, our investments, our finances now, as a spiritual practice, we use money differently. And the thing is that it has to be a spiritual practice because it is a part of our lives. When we look at money and how we use money, how we think about money, how we gain money, how we let money go, whether it's bills or whatever we are spending our money on, it affects our body health. It's crazy to think about when people don't have, let's say you don't have the money to pay the rent this month, all of a sudden you're stressed out in your mind. Your mind is thinking, how am I going to pay the rent? I need the shelter. I need what I need to do, right? So not having money, and they say that money doesn't make you happy, right? And that is true, but sometimes when you have the money to pay your bills, you at least don't have to worry about that, right? You at least don't have to worry about rent or the bills that you have to pay. But it does something to our body health. It does something for our communication. It even controls power dynamics in this world where people who have more money think that they can do whatever they want. We see it all the time, every day almost, in the news. People that have money or positions, right? They do things that are not for their highest good and the people around them. But when we talk about our money, our finances, friends, today we must bless our finances with great prosperity. We must speak into our finances, seeing our financial flow, which is the intake and the output, gathering volume and energy, right? Gathering a volume and energy of love. We must see our financial flow as love, as something that's bringing us health and wellness, not stress, not pulling out our hair, wondering where the money is coming from, but knowing that God is the source for where it comes from. We must see our financial flow bringing goodness and life. And I'm speaking for each and every one of you, bringing the vacation that you deserve, bringing the vacation that you want right here and right now, bringing rest, and most of all, bringing savings, right? Where you can save for the things that you want. You can save for that vacation. You can save for the money that you're spending on that vacation. And in this generation, it is true that when I look at from like my parents' generation to mine, and even now the younger kids, the jobs don't pay as well as they used to. The jobs don't even seem to care as much as they used to, right? And it seems like the salaries don't go up with the cost of living. And that is, to me, the macro issue. That's the bigger issue that we have to, that's why elections matter, right? That's when we protest and make sure that these companies are doing what they need to do. But when we look at the smaller issue, but the most important issue, how is our financial flow affecting our health? How it is affecting our well-being? How does it affect the respect that we have in our life for ourselves, for our finances? Friends, today, let your consciousness be in the flow of giving and receiving. Know that you have enough to give, you have enough to receive, you have enough for all of it, but it takes you blessing your finances with great prosperity. So why don't we put that word out in the universe? Affirm with me, I bless my finances, with great prosperity. Amen, amen, amen. So the word is out. The word is out there. Now we can allow our financial flow to be a spiritual energy. We can allow our financial flow to be a love energy in this world. Again, both the intake and the output, it is gathering volume and energy. What is the energy that you're giving to your bills, to the things that you use your money for? We must examine our current definition of money and base that on or compare it to society's definition of money. Money for many people in society means power, it means influence, it means ownership also. People have a certain confidence when they know that they can walk into a store and buy whatever they want to, right? I heard a saying some years ago where it says that a person walks differently on floors that they own, right? Because they have a certain thing. Once you know that you own these floors, no one can kick you out. No one can tell you anything. You walk differently. You walk prouder. You walk more strongly. But whatever it is your money flow a love flow? Is your money flow a love flow? Now listen, before I even continue, let me just get this out. Now, there are a lot of people that say that ministers should not talk about money. They talk about the prosperity ministers. The church is a scam, and all they want is the money. They just get your money, and the minister is dressing in fancy clothes and looking good and all off your money. Let me just say, I'm going to look good anyway, so it doesn't matter what the money is, right? And you too. But the thing is, for me, it's not a taboo issue because, again, money is a part of our lives. Money is the exchange that we use for each and everything in our lives. So it is important to talk about it. I don't talk about what other churches are doing, what other ministers are doing. The only thing I can do is quote something if I see something or hear something that's inspirational. I want to share it with you. That's the only way I get involved with other ministers and what they're doing. I know for Black Diamond Worldwide Outreach, this is a church of love. This is a church of spiritual growth. You know the plan for this church and what we have. I told you I have a plan for every day of the week to help in the community, to help the worldwide community. So whatever other churches are doing, that's their business. We have our business. So let me also thank each and every one of you for your tithes, for your love offerings, supporting the canteen, all of that. Because it is good to give to a church. They call the church the spiritual hospital. It's the place where many people go when their soul is sick, for lack of a better term, right? When their soul needs a healing, they go to the spiritual hospital, which is the church. But you should always give to the place that you get your spiritual food from. Hopefully it's this church and you give generously, but if it's someone else, because I'm not the only minister in the world, you give to that place because the church is really the spiritual kitchen, right? So you give to the place where you get your spiritual food from. But it's also good to give to charity, to give to the homeless, to give to the needy, even to give loans to people that we know, family members. If we believe in their vision, we believe in what they're doing, and you have the money to help, why not do it, right? We give to our bills, and we're calling them investments right here and right now. But at those giving moments, friends, we must realize that we are extending ourselves. So how are you extending yourself every time there's a bill that is due in your life? At your giving moments, you have to realize that you have to give in the faith of love. You have to give with faith, knowing that even when you're paying your bills, you are paying it in the faith. You are paying it with the desire to help yourself or other people, whatever it is, right? If you're giving to charity, giving to the homeless, giving to help someone along the way, you have to sit back and think, am I giving genuinely from the love in my heart? Or, like some people, they're giving to boast. Look, I can give, I have the money to give. Giving is for the end of the year, they can put it on their taxes and get back that money. Giving so they can boost their ego, their influence, right? Or just as a conversation piece, again, look how much I can give and I have the money, or put it on the card, right? And not giving genuinely from their heart. Today we have to remember that as we're giving, we should feel fulfilled. It shouldn't be something that's draining for us or something that we can use as an influence over someone else. Friends, you have to remember that your intention for giving can either bless or curse the gift that you're giving. The energy that you're giving with can either bless or curse the gift. So what is the energy that you want to use for your life right here and right now? What is the energy that you want to use for everything that comes out of your wallet, out of your soul, out of your mind, out of your mouth? Are you giving it with an energy of love? Are you giving it in faith? Because the reality is that these things play out in our heart. They play out in our soul because, again, we are always giving of ourselves. Friends, today, do not neglect to give in love. Do not neglect to use your financial flow as a love energy in your life. And when we think about it, everything that we do, we have to pay for it. When you think of even getting up in the morning, you have to pay for the bed that you sleep on. Even if you sleep on a cot or on a sheet, you still got to pay for all of that, right? You still got to wash the sheets whenever you wash them. When you go into the shower and you brush your teeth, you got to pay for the toothpaste, the toothbrush, you got to pay for the dentist. When you go for your grooming, right, to get your hair done, I love my little edge gel. It edges, puts down my baby hair so I look good right here. But that's a bill that I had to pay at one point, right? The clothes that you wear, you go into the store, no matter how good you look, you still have to go through the cashier. Otherwise, when you walk out with the people's stuff, what happens? Wah, 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 wah. And they take you to the back room and you never can go into the store again, right? That is another bill. Again, we're paying for our housing, our rent, our mortgage, whatever it is, right? You pay for your neighborhood with taxes and things like that. You pay for your meals. Some people don't like to go out to eat. Some people love to go out to a restaurant because it's easier for them because they don't have to prepare to cook. Because sometimes they don't have to wash dishes, right? Right? Because when you go, because sometimes when you're cooking, you spend all day cooking and then the food is prepared, you don't even want to eat it sometimes. So it's just easier to go out to the store to eat. But whatever it is, whether you buy it in the supermarket or you cook it yourself, it is still a bill. Even the people in our lives, if you have kids, well, all their bills are your bills, right? Because you're responsible for them. But even the adults in your life, you buy them Christmas gifts and birthday gifts, right? Those are bills that are due. And going back to this vacation, if you want a good vacation, you got to be prepared to spend some bills, right? So all of these things require financing. And the sad part is that some people base their worth or your worth on how much you can spend, how much money you can shell out, instead of how you spend, right? Instead of if this person can spend wisely, if this person is giving in love, if this person is giving with a purpose, right? We should appreciate people that learn to save their money. I remember growing up when I was small, my mother and I had a routine. Every Sunday morning, we would go, she would stop in front of the corner store in Brooklyn. I would get out, get the paper, come into the car. When we got home, we'd take the paper out and she would spend that Sunday evening going through the coupons and cutting out the coupons. And when I was smaller, I was thinking like, it's a 25-cent coupon. It's a $1 coupon. What's going on? Sometimes you find, right now you got double coupons. Now I can't tell you the last time I bought something that wasn't on sale or I didn't have a coupon for, right? Now it was just in my mind because the money I saved, that 25 cents and 25 cents, $1 you save, goes into vacation, right? That's how I can swim with dolphins and do all these things because it goes to something else. But there are people in our world that base respect on how much you spend, how much you can earn. I remember, and this is the thing, we communicate life through money. That is just a reality. But that's why we have to make it a spiritual practice. The world can spend their money as frivolously as they want to. We have to use that money communication as a spiritual practice. A couple of months ago, I was coming out of the supermarket and I saw some friends from high school. Now we're on Facebook and things like that, but rarely you see each other face to face. So we're standing there laughing, and as the Trinidadians and the West Indians say, liming in the parking lot. Or as the kids say today, parking lot pimping. I don't want to go that far, but we were just having fun. It just means that you're standing in the parking lot having fun, right? And we're talking from one thing to the next. And the next thing, this really expensive car drives up, and turns out that the driver knew one of the people that I was with. So we're all looking at the car, we're all guys, we're looking at the rims, and the inside had a beautiful computer thing. It wasn't really my speed, but the inside was amazing. So as we're talking, this really attractive girl walks up, and she's talking, there was like 5 of us in the group, and she's talking to all of us, but I consider myself like an armchair anthropologist, right? I like to look at people's behaviors and I feel their energy. So already when she comes up, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna call her a gold digger, but I knew the energy that she was coming with. So she's talking to all of us, and she's, oh, this is a nice car. Oh, whose car is this? And the guy said, oh, this is my car. All of a sudden she gravitates towards the owner of the car. And all of a sudden his jokes are so hilarious. She's laughing out of her mind. He is so, the clothes are so much brighter. Everything is so much brighter, because in her mind, she thinks that if he can afford this car, he can afford me. He can afford the bills that I have. And all of a sudden that's what he was doing it for, right? Because he's winking and he thinks he's he's hot stuff. Because now this girl is interested, not in him, but what he can provide for her. What the material things in the world. So there are a lot of people in this world that base respect on what you can earn and what you can spend. I realized, like in my early 20s, you go out and people ask you, oh, what do you do for a living? Some people care, but most people are really asking so they can see, do you do a job that I respect so I can respect you or not, right? It's a level of respect. But the truth is that we all deserve respect, right? We all deserve love. And we have to remember that as we're spending to buy our needs, as we're spending money on our luxuries, we have to love and respect even the workers that help us to get those things. The people in the supermarket, the people in the restaurants, right? I love when I meet new people, I want to go out to dinner because I want to see how you treat the waiter, and most importantly, the bus staff, the people that come and clean your table, right? Do you have respect for those people? Because it doesn't matter what job they do, they are people at the end of the day. And so we have to respect them. And so we even have to respect the farmers that put our food together, because farming is a hard job, right? So we must all realize that we are only people exchanging money for goods, right? Whatever you think about consumerism and how people spend in this world, we are all just people exchanging money for goods. Let that exchange be one of love. Let that exchange be one of love, so that when we are spending our money, we're spending it with the purpose of love. We have to now come to use and understand money with a greater identity of love, knowing that it is an exchange, it's a physical exchange, but the spirit, the soul in us must make it a spiritual exchange, must make it an exchange of love. So would you affirm with me, I spend my money with the purpose of love. All right, now, there are expenditures in our world that are sometimes out of our control. When we think about inflation, there's always inflation going on, right? When we think about the scams, so many people have been scammed and don't even know it, right, out of their money, and they do it so quick and so easy that you don't even realize you're being scammed. When we look at, because a lot of people talk about, okay, so if you're going to talk about money and talk about bills, let's talk about the healthcare system. Now we all know the nonsense that's going on with the healthcare system and how they deny claims. I always tell people, you have to keep trying, you have to keep fighting. If they deny your claim once, keep putting it in and putting it in and putting it in. At some point they will say yes. But we live in a country, unfortunately, that to me does not take our health seriously, and that starts with the foods that we eat, right? They put unhealthy foods. I think about this organic. I'm going to call it a scam. We go to the supermarket, there's an organic section. So basically what they're saying is, we didn't put any garbage in these foods, and they're more expensive than the foods that we did put garbage in. And so this is organic now, right? As though we asked for all those chemicals to be in our food. We can't even pronounce them. So why is it organic versus all the chemicals, right? So, and also when you go to other countries, the same products in other countries have different ingredients because other countries don't support that, right? So we have this vicious cycle of cheap and unhealthy foods in this country that are causing more rare and debilitating diseases, the diabetes, the obesity. Now they got this pill for obesity, but it's not gonna help when you have the fat and the extra sugar in your body. The pills are not gonna help, right? And then you have this high cost of healthcare. And that is where elections matter again, elected officials matter, right? That is where we use our social justice voice. But it has to begin within our soul, does it not, right? Everything has to begin within our soul. We all want to enjoy some type of comfort and stability, especially in our finances. We want to know that we have what we need. When we look at Psalm 23, a popular prosperity psalm for a lot of people, one point in it says, "Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me," right? Meaning the comfort and the stability of God is my comfort. Let's go to the Bible lesson. Today's Bible lesson was taken from 1 John chapter 5. From verse 4 it says, "For everyone born of God is victorious and overcomes the world. The victory that has conquered and overcome the world is our faith." So, the outer world is going to be expensive. Can we allow our inner self, no matter how expensive, no matter what eggs are going up again, no matter what gas is, can we allow the inner self to work on a budget of prosperity? Can we allow our inner self to work on a budget of plenty, work on a budget of access, and as that inner self is working with prosperity, working with plenty, working with access, it spills out into every bill that we have due. You ever heard that song? You got a light bill due, he's gonna work it out. You ever heard that song? YouTube that song when you get home. Every time you have a bill and you don't know how you're gonna pay it, play that song. It's just saying you got a light bill. That's all they're saying in the song. It's a choir. You got a light bill due, God's gonna work it out. You got a gas bill due, God's gonna work it out. Whatever the bill, God is working it out. And most importantly, you as a child of God are working out your bills for yourself. Friends, today, know that your God-given ability to conquer, to overcome, will bring the fullness in every bill that you have due. Your God-given ability will bring prosperity and plenty and access to every bill that is due in your world. Friends, you now recognize God as your source and your supply, and you will never, ever do without. See, even if your bank account doesn't show the prosperity that you think you need or you deserve, you are not poor. Don't ever use the word poor. No matter what your tax bracket is, you are not poor. You are building your financial solvency, right? You are building your financial solvency, knowing that you are always directed to prosperity. So friends, today, know that your God-given ability for prosperity leads you to have the ability to pay your bills, have the ability to meet your long-term goals and obligation. Everything in your finances is met to overflowing. So affirm that with me. I am always directed to prosperity. Amen. So now, friends, with prosperity firmly in your path, now you know that your fulfillment is imminent. You know that you have prosperity everywhere you go. You just have to wait it out. And as you're waiting for your fulfillment, as you're waiting for the full bloom of your prosperity, know that you have the wisdom. If you need more income, you have the thoughts, the imagination, the creativity to know where to get that money from legally. Because it's very easy to do it illegally, right? All the prisons are filled with people who want money but did them illegally, right? Know that you have God's wisdom to do it in a wonderful way. Know that you affirm will in your world. Affirm a deeper understanding of your finances and how you are able to save, how you are able to be financially literate, not maybe of the world. The stock market is a lot to think about, but of yourself, of your income, how you're spending money, how you're giving money, and most importantly, affirm strong and meaningful movement in your body. And that's why we always work with the body now, right? That's why we're always affirming with the body, because whatever you want to get, whatever you want to gain, it's your body, it's your hands that need to move, it's your feet that need to take you to the places that you need to go, that need to work, right? It's your mind that needs to think about what you're doing to accumulate the income in your world. So you have to affirm strong and meaningful movement in your body, and also strong and meaningful interactions in your body. Not only are you not saying the word poor, but you're not allowing anyone else in your world to call you poor or to think that they are poor. You are having rich friends in your world that have rich thoughts, good thoughts, motivating thoughts of great and wonderful life. Going back to our scripture reading in 1 John chapter 5, verse 12 says, the person who does not have personal faith does not have life. So that is why we have to use our faith when we're paying our bills. Because if we're paying our bills and thinking that it's outside of our belief in God, outside of our connection with God, we lose the spiritual connection in our finances. So we have to see our faith as a personal guide to fulfillment in money, whether it's relationships and friendships. There are a lot of marriages that break up because of money. Don't let that happen to you. But it means that, of course, every person has to be responsible, right? Every person has to be honest about their income, about their spending habits, and we can build financial goals for ourselves and with our loved ones, right? We're in a marriage, we're in our relationships. You want to pool your money together? Everybody has to be responsible for what they can be responsible for, because money is so much better in community. This is what I learned as I grew up. Money is better in community. For all the West Indians out there in social media world and in here, we have something in the West Indian, and I believe that the Jewish faith also does this, something called a box hand or susu, right? Now, for those of you who don't know, an example of that is you get 10 people, and for 10 weeks, each person gives $10, just for an example, right? And it goes for 10 weeks, so each person gives whoever's in charge of the money $10, and every week one person out of the pot gets the whole pot. Now, again, when I was growing up, the child imagination, the child consciousness did not understand this, because my thought is, if you're gonna put $10 anyway aside, why can't you just save it for yourself? But this is why money is better in community. Because when you have the money and you're saving, there's always going to be something that you have to spend. And you can say, it's easy to not save for yourself. Because you say, oh, I got this $10 I'm supposed to be saving. I might as well use it. I can bring it in next week, and then next week you forget, and it's a whole thing. But when you realize that someone else is depending on your $10 every week for 10 weeks, it brings a new consciousness in your saving program. So that is why money is so much better in community. So friends, today, see your spending of your money as fulfilling. See, every time that you spend your money, it is joyous, it is a pleasant experience, and that is why you have to continue blessing your money. Bless every part of your money. Bless the bills, bless the coins even in your wallet. Bless your wallet itself. Bless the purse that you hold your wallet in. Bless your passport. You bless your passport, because anytime you use your passport, as soon as you land wherever you are, you start spending money right away. Even if it's a taxi cab from the airport to the hotel, right? You start spending money. Bless that form of money. Bless your credit cards. Bless even the tap to pay. I love my instant pay, right? Because sometimes I forget my wallet. I get scatterbrained. Or sometimes even like with the change of weather, in the morning it's cold, so you have a coat and you put your wallet in your coat. In the afternoon, you don't need that coat, and you walk out and you forget the wallet in the coat at home, right? But you always have your cell phone, and you go to these places that you just doop and you're done, right? Bless even that interaction. As you consume, let there be a greater good behind how you're spending your money. Let it be a greater good for how you're using your money. So now you can get ready for the wealth management specialist that is within you. Don't worry about other people's wealth. We're not talking about the millionaires and the soon-to-be trillionaires of the world. We're talking about our personal wealth, our personal finances. Know that you must embrace your bills with an energy of love. And as you do that, as you're giving it out now, it goes out with an energy of love. And that is in your income and your output. All of it is embraced with love. So would you affirm with me, I embrace my bills, with an energy of love. Amen. One of my favorite prosperity affirmations is found in the tithing responses that we're about to do in a few minutes, where it says, God hangs the earth on nothing and fills our mouth with plenty. What a great affirmation to remind myself that there is always plenty to meet my every need. Everything we need for the sustenance in our, when we think about how powerful the universe is and everything that we're connecting with, right? Everything that we eat is on the planet. There is, if you know someone that eats something from outer space, let me know. I want to talk to them. But everything that we need, everything for sustenance, everything for health is already on the planet. And the best things are the things that are organic, so to speak, right? The things that actually grow in a real way, right? Those are the best things for our body. We realize now that our bills are how we connect with the world. Our bills, our investments are how we connect and build our world. It is how we build our life. It is how we build our little slice of heaven. You see people that, buy a house and all of a sudden they have a man cave. Well, I know that people have now a mom cave, or the commercial with the she shed. The she shed, right? A place where they can go and be alone, but that is a bill that you have to pay, right? Whether it's a light bill or whatever bill, it's a bill that you have to pay to get your little slice of heaven. I think about immigrants when they come to this country, they come for a better life, but they build one bill at a time. One bill at a time. Even when you're coming out from, teenager into adulthood, you start working, you start having bills. People start out with a studio apartment or living with friends, then to a studio, then to a one bedroom, then to buying a house. One bill at a time. So every bill that we are paying for, every bill that we have in our world is something great and wonderful. And even I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an adult. I want to be an adult. I want to be able to go where I want to go, do what I want to do, until you get your first paycheck. And I remember getting my first paycheck and it's like, what is all this minus stuff? Who are all these people? Why is there like 5 lines of minus from what I'm supposed to get paid, right? And not only you get paid less than you thought you get paid, it's time to pay the bills now. And you see your bank account just dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. That is when you have to bless. That is when you have to use your faith to pay your bills. And it can get exhausting. Especially when you're the only person that's doing it. Paying bills can get exhausting. It can get heavy. It can be draining for your mental, your physical, and even your emotional state of being. But friends, you must realize that that is where your faith is built. In those moments that feel exhausting, that feel draining, this is where your faith is built. So friends, today build your faith into everything you spend, into everything you buy, into everything you use, into everything you own, and know that you are continuing to pay your bills in faith. So affirm this last affirmation with me. My faith is built into everything I spend. My faith is built into everything I buy. My faith is built into everything I use. My faith is built into everything I own. So whatever your finances are today, friends, build your faith into it. Pay each bill in faith. Pay each bill as an investment. I'm investing in my phone. I'm investing in my health. I'm investing in whatever the bill is due. To have this faith, have this love in God, to know that you are investing in the greater and bigger self, not only today, but all days to come. I love you, love you, love you, love you. Be blessed. Thank you, thank you, thank you.